Am I live? I don't know. Facebook has changed live. If you can see me, if you can hear me, let me know. Um, the wheel has been spinning. I think I'm live now. So, anyway, happy Sunday if you're joining me live or if you're watching this sometime today, or maybe you're watching this in a future Sunday. A few days ago, and sorry, I was kind of popped out of Facebook for a few days. But a few days ago, before I kind of popped out, I baited you all with a little live that I wanted to do, and this is the live. I wanted to talk a little bit about this very interesting topic of forgiveness, and I'm going to explain in a moment why it's interesting. So first off, if you don't know who the heck I am, I am Jenn Plotnikoff. I am a fear alchemist and a self-healing expert. And if you are joining me, as I said, Facebook changed live and what it looks like and all that jazz. So just say hi. Let me know if you can see this. I have no idea whether or not I'm live, but I hope I am. Anyway, I'm just going to trust and hope this is serving someone and is live somewhere in the world, or at least out there in a recording. So forgiveness. Forgiveness is an interesting topic, particularly in the self-healing, self-development, and the healing realms. And it is often incorrectly used and not very well understood, which is why it is incorrectly used. And so why I titled this, How We Can Use Forgiveness Without Spiritual Bypassing, is the interesting truth about this element of forgiveness is it sounds like this beautiful, incredible, love-filled journey, when in reality, it is not. And some of you might be freaking out the fact that I just said that, because we have been taught to rush towards forgiveness as an energy of solution. It's kind of also, if you've ever heard me talk about letting go, and how we cannot just let go. It is one of the reasons why I have a practice, because my practice is full of people that have been working with this concept and this energy of letting go, and it's not been effective. And it's the same reason why we might find ourselves wanting to forgive the same thing or same person or ourselves over and over and over again about the same circumstances. And I wanted to just share a couple of truths. And this is something that came to me. This is something I've been working with my whole life, but I've been working with forgiveness with myself in a very different light recently. And I wanted to share some of those insights with you. And I wanted to paint a little bit of a different perspective in what we often think about is forgiveness. And so first, before I do that, I just wanted to talk about when we have an opportunity, or I say opportunity, but when we have events that happen in our lives that require us to come to a place eventually of forgiveness, there are many steps. It's like if you've ever had any huge loss in your life, you know that there are many steps that you must go through to move through something powerful like grief. And forgiveness is equally just like that. It's just like grief. It's just like so many things. There are many uncomfortable steps that we need to move through before we can get to the other side. But unfortunately, and this happens as well with grief and many other emotions, including rage and hatred and resentments, which is where we get into forgiveness, because we often want to skip the steps. We want to leap straight to forgiveness. But we can't do that. As seductive as that feels and sounds, you must move through all of the experiences that brought you through that experience in order to come through to the other side. And I talk about this as, same thing when I talk about positivity and all the, positive vibes and high vibes. These are places that we arrive to naturally when we can face our own darkness. And forgiveness is not exempt. Forgiveness is not somewhere we can arrive as a final destination. There is a huge process to go through to get there. And I really want to acknowledge this because one of the first places that we need to actually work through is our own inner shadow. Because the very first person that we must first forgive is always ourselves. Even if we are dealing with trauma, even if we're dealing with abuse, there is an element, particularly with abuse at a really young age, or if we were children when we experienced trauma, where we feel somehow and we carry somehow a fault around it. And there is a process, and it's messy, and it's not cut and dry, and it's not linear. But it is a process that we must walk through, because we cannot know true forgiveness. We cannot sit in the comfort of that space without first understanding the entire process, without first working through the process. And so this is why I'm so passionate about embodiment work, because one of the quickest and easiest and most powerful ways and lasting ways to arrive to these places that we're trying to get to, whether it's changing old patterns, whether it's letting go of old habits that no longer serve us, whether it's arriving to a deeper or a place of forgiveness within ourselves or with others, we must first really be able to have the capacity and courage to face our own shadows. And most of us are very intimidated by shadow work. And I kind of was thinking about this because I've been working with this incredible private client recently. And one of the cards that came up in the reading today, the energies that we were working with, are intimidating. They're huge, they're intense, they're shadowy. They have to do with past ancestral lineage and affecting our future ancestral lineage. And often this can bring us to a place of really deep overwhelm, which is often what happens when we think about working with the shadow, working with our own shadow work. What do I mean by that? The places and spaces that we shun, the places and spaces where we hold shame and shut away and kind of tamp down on, the family secrets, the ancestral history, the stuff that no one wants to talk about. When you first meet someone, a stranger, the very first time, you do not share with them your deepest, darkest secrets. But the interesting thing is, a lot of the time that stranger is us. We don't often even share and sit with our own deepest, darkest secrets. They're in us. They're hanging out there. But we are so petrified that if we take a little peek, that we will be flooded and overwhelmed by a deep, deep, dark and watery hole of horror and pain and suffering. And that resistance and that belief is actually what keeps us in a deeper, trapped kind of suffering. So what does this have to do with forgiveness? Forgiveness is not about reciting mantras, declaring our own love to ourselves. It is not about getting on our knees and crying and asking for forgiveness. It's not about reciting mantras to forgive someone that you really deep down in your bones still hold resentment for. You need to deal with the stuff first. You cannot emotionally bypass. You cannot bypass your emotions. And this is not something that most of you want to hear. This is not something that I wanted to hear. This is not something that I wanted to hear, because the seduction of thinking that if I just recite and choose a mantra and over and over and over again, just embody this energy of forgiveness and forgiveness and forgiveness, even though I don't really know what that is, I don't allow myself to know what that is, because it's not a place. It's an energy that you embody, and the only way to embody it is to move through the shadow work. It is the natural result of doing your work, of going through your shit, and all of it. It's going to get messy, I promise you. But I also promise you this, that it's not as scary as you think it is, that it's not as terrifying, as trepidatious, as dangerous as you believe it's so deep down in your being. Yes, you're going to have to walk through some dark spaces, but you will learn that your own darkness is not just your light, but your gold. This is what fear alchemy is all about. This is what energy alchemy is all about. It is working with the full rainbow of your existence, which includes the fiery, angry reds and oranges and yellows, so that you can burn through. You need the rage. The rage is what actually helps you move through the blockages. It helps you move through with power, with enough and sufficient energy to burn through some of those blockages that we carry for generations, not just familial generations, but energetic generations and ancestral lineages that we are holding the burdens for. So we need the potency and potential energy behind some of these fiery and intense emotions and experiences that we shy away from, because we see them as not spiritual. We see them as not okay. We see them as bad and something that needs to be transmuted, and not as something that we can work with. It is something we can work with. It is potential energy. Our emotions are energy in motion. And sometimes, for example, the amount of energy required is far greater than we really want to work with. And that's okay. But think about it this way. If you want to shoot for the moon, you need huge, huge, huge rockets under you and around you to be able to make it through the resistance of the Earth's atmosphere. And it's similar. That rocket fuel is something that we are built with in our bodies. So when it comes to big things that we need to move through, we need to have the courage to at least be willing to have a look. There is a natural unfoldment that happens. We're not going to go to rocket fuel. We're not going to go to 0 to 1,000,000 in one go. And I don't recommend that. That's where we go into overwhelm and re-traumatizing ourselves, the whole thing. But there is a natural and an intelligent that unfolding that is waiting inside of you for you to work with it, for you to call it in. So, my dear ones, I do want you to arrive to a place of really fully being in forgiveness with your own being. But I do not want you to be in the illusion that jumping over the steps and bypassing the steps is going to get you there. It is not going to get you there. And it is keeping you stuck. It is keeping you trapped. And it is keeping you, if you are feeling overwhelmed, if you are feeling anxious all the time, if you're feeling like you're tired all the time, if you're feeling like there's something holding you back and you don't know what it is, if you feel like you're holding yourself back and you don't know how to get out of your own way, this is the root. This is the root. And you're not alone. You're not alone in that. This is why we seek guidance and support. But the guidance and support that we seek must align with our own inner truth. It must be big and spacious and powerful enough to support the energy that wants to come through. So some of you, that is exactly what you needed to hear. And some of you, you're going to be mad at me, but that's okay. I'm not here for you to like me. I'm here for you to be awakened. I'm here for you to be awakened to your own truth, to begin to accept who you are on a soul level and align to that in the physical world. If that's something that you feel like you want more guidance in, I work with people one-on-one in very powerful containers. As I mentioned, I had a wonderful and incredible client this morning. Whew, it was a big one and a wonderful session. And I also work in, I have self-study and group work. So you can always reach out to me if you're curious. I have on my website, I think I have an application to work with me, but the easiest way, if you are curious to know about how I can guide you through your own shadow work and learn how to be your own alchemist, the easiest way to connect with me is just to shoot me a message here in Facebook or send me an email at movedfromwithin@gmail.com. Just send me a message and we will chat in video chat. All of the work that I do, by the way, is usually through Zoom. And I've recently been starting to use Marco Polo, which I love. Thank you to my friend Katie, who introduced me to this incredible video app. So there is a personal element to all of that work, whether it's group, whether it's one-on-one, or whether it's self-study. There's always a personal element to all the work I do. So just send me a message if this is something you're feeling like you need some guidance with, and we'll chat. And in that chat, my goal is really just to help you arrive to what you need and make an empowered decision about that. It doesn't have to be this, it doesn't have to be that. But my goal is to really empower you to sit at a soul level, at a core level, in every single cell of your body, with confidence, with ease, with grace, and with sovereignty over this being that is you. Body, mind, spirit, soul, energy, emotions in alignment. Okay, dear ones, happy Sunday. I love you all. Also, if you're not in my group, Moved by Spirit, I'll put actually, can I do that right now? Join us in the community. Let's see if they'll let me do it. Yes, it will. Moved by Spirit. There we go. So join us in the community. I am doing some live as well as through the post and thread Akashic channelings for your questions. So if you guys have questions, you can also reach me there inside the group and ask for free, get some clarity and guidance from your Akashic records. Anyway, signing off this Sunday. Love you all and take care. How do I leave? I don't know. End live video. There we go.